Hello people, it's me TFR Wilderness, and it's that thing that I do at the end of every month, my end of month bot haul. So this is the bot haul for September, and obviously last month being August, TF Nation, and I had a monster haul last month, and biggest video I've ever done, 100, was it 1 hour 24 minutes, and congratulations for anybody who actually sat through it to the end. I haven't actually looked at the viewing times for that video to see how long people viewed it, but it doesn't really matter. But it's got a recent number of views, all things considered. But anyway, that was last month. This month I've got a much more, meager haul compared to last month, obviously. But I'm hoping that this video will be reasonably short by comparison, probably about sort of 35-40 minutes, but that remains to be seen. Because this month, even though I haven't actually got an awful lot of stuff to show you, I did have a couple of things going on this month that are worthy of, story time. A couple of story times this month of how things happened and stuff that might pad the video out a little bit. So with that said, let's get moving. Obviously, I placed my orders at the beginning of the month for a bunch of things off eBay, and the first bit to arrive. I've reviewed her. Hello Carbot, what they called Cretaceous period Terajet. She's a Pteranodon. I'm going to get all the Dinobots from the movie figures, because Hello Carbots earlier this year they did this movie called was it Cretaceous Adventure, or Hello Carbot's Cretaceous Adventure, Cretaceous period adventure, or whatever it was called, and they did 4 Dinobot toys or Dino Carbots, and this was one of them. She's the token Fembot, and even though she's the weakest out of the 4 figures, because she's the smallest, her alt mode is compromised, because you can see all the robot bits underneath. It's like a plane form, where it's like pterosaur on top and robot bits underneath. But it's these gaudy, amazing colours that it's come on, this lime green and orange and purple. It just it gives you colour blindness looking at it, and so I wanted to get her. She's a decent little bot. The build quality on these is great. It's built like Carbots of old, even though these aren't actually made by Sonocon, the guys who made the original Carbots. They're made by Quirok company. Now Quirok is the company that makes the show for Hello Carbots, but yeah, it's kind of weird that they did this as a subline, and they didn't go through the normal company to make these toys. But decent figure, we've got ratchet joints and decent and reasonably posable. There's a few bits on it that are a bit odd and unusual, but that's due to the engineering. But she's a decent figure. I've done a review on it, and she's pretty cool. Then the next thing that arrived on the 10th of September, and then the day after, on the 11th, I got my other KTRT bot. I got Miniforce X Samibot, or Samibot, depending on the pronunciation. It's spelt Semibot, because when I bought this it was S-E-M-I. Some people say it's Sammy, but it depends. I think on the English version they changed his name to Sammy, but on the Korean version it's Semi. So again, another case of mispronunciation through the Korean language. It's a decent enough figure. It's a lot better built than the Miniforce X Lucybot. It's a lot heavier. It's got it's got more articulation going on. It's big and it's chunky. The play mode's a bit of a brick, but the robot mode is okay. But again, I bought this because it forms part of this combiner that they're doing, and he's the second piece of the combiner. I've got another one which I'm going to be ordering as of tomorrow, and yeah, so that thing's going on, and he's actually pretty decent. All right, I quite liked him. Now, the next one. Let's just get the stuff in position. The beginning of August, I think it was the 3rd of August. Well, we're getting into story time now, so this is the first story time for this particular haul. Right, going back to before TF Nation, 3rd of August, I had got Prime Wars Blast Off the previous month, and I wanted to get Prime Wars Repugnus. Now I've got I've got the other two monster bots. I've got Twinferno and I've got Grotesque. So needless to say, I wanted to get Repugnus. Now I saw something somewhere, I can't remember where it was I saw it. Somebody on a video on YouTube had said something about when the Repugnus, the Prime Wars Repugnus went up on Amazon USA, it sold out like that. It sold out really quickly. And I got in my head that this figure is in demand, very much so, and I thought, you know, I better get in there quick and get one before they're all gone. And that was my thinking on it. So I looked online, and it was scalpers prices for this guy. So there was two figures I was looking at. One was from my mate Mr. Animatropolis, who is a guy I've bought from multiple times before, and he wanted, I think it was £46.99 for it. But there was another seller, I think in Taiwan, who was doing it a couple of quid cheaper. Now, I had a quick look at his feedback, and he had a pretty good feedback score. I mean, yeah, in recent times, he'd had a bunch of people saying, negative feedback, saying, oh, the stuff never arrived, or the stuff was damaged, or I didn't get what I wanted, didn't get what I paid for, and all that stuff. But, you know, his feedback score was pretty good, so I thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to buy it. And it was £45.99. Anyway, so I ordered it on the 3rd of July. Now, I know he said he was going to send it economy, the postage, but I would have thought it would have sent it, you know, economy airmail. And my idea was I wanted to get it in time wanted to get it before TF Nation, because this was a couple of weeks before TF Nation, so there was plenty of time for it to arrive before TF Nation, and I wanted to get it before TF Nation. And if I did get it before TF Nation, then I would have done a review on it, and in comparison with the other two figures I've got. Anyway, TF Nation came. I was at TF Nation, and of course, Kapow had Prime Wars Repugnus on their stall for 30 quid, and I was a bit annoyed about that. I was a bit gutted because, you know, I paid like, you know, £15 more for it. Well, £16 more for it than what they were doing it for. So I was a bit annoyed about that. I thought, well, if I'd have held fire till after TF Nation, I could have picked it up at TF Nation for 30 quid and saved myself some money. But anyway, that is that. So there, after TF Nation, weeks kept rolling by. I thought, where is this thing? It hasn't arrived, and I was getting a bit worried. Now, it had a delivery schedule that would run. I think it ended on the 25th of September. So I was getting a bit worried about it, and then I come home from work on Thursday, the 13th of September. And I had a couple of those slips waiting for me, you know, that they post through your letterbox to say, oh, we tried to deliver a parcel to you, but you weren't in, so we've taken it back to the depot type thing. And there was two slips. Now, one of them, oh yeah, something else I want to mention before going any further about this figure that this Prime Wars Repugnus that I bought. The seller, he gave me a tracking code. Now, this tracking code started TW and it ended UK, and it had a load of numbers in between, as they do. I kept trying this tracking code in a bunch of websites. I kept trying it on, Parcel Force, Royal Mail, FedEx, all those others, and it didn't work. The tracking code that he gave me did not work. So you've got to keep this in mind when I carry on with the story. Anyway, so TF Nation, been and gone, and it was now over a month since I'd ordered this thing, and there was no sign of it, and I was getting a bit worried. And it wasn't until, like I said, the 13th of September when I got these, came home from work, and got these two little slips saying that things had been delivered. One was for a package from, where was it? I can't remember where. Well, it was for another item that I'd ordered off eBay, a couple of weeks previous, and I knew what that was, but I had this other package. It said there, you've got a duty payment to pay, and it says that the package is from Germany. And I thought, Germany? I haven't ordered anything from Germany. Anyway, so I nipped up, because the parcel office is, quite not that far from where I live. So when I got home, I took the slips, went up to the parcel office, and I got the other figure, which I'll show you in a moment because it arrived on the same day. And then I got this package, and when the woman gave it to me, I thought, I know what this is. And yeah, so it came with the customs fee to pay, and when you looked on the customs declaration on the back, it said, contents description, toy valued at $20, and where is it? It got the dreaded customs label on the side. £3.10 duty payment plus the £8 processing and handling fee that Royal Mail charged. So needless to say, I had to pay an extra £10.11 on the price I'd already paid for this figure. Yeah, and there he is. So yeah, I paid me money and got Repugnus. I was a bit annoyed, obviously, having to pay more money for it. And then when I looked at the details on the label, it said it had been shipped from Hamburg. That's why it said it came from Germany. So he had obviously sent it from Taiwan to Hamburg by ship. So it went by a container ship from Taiwan to Hamburg, because Hamburg's a big shipping port. So the ship came into Hamburg, the container got unloaded, the package the item got repackaged and then sent to the UK, probably by truck, I would have thought. And when it got into the UK, it got a customs hit. So all told, I ended up paying nearly 60 quid for this guy, and needless to say, I was pretty knocked off about it, to be honest. Can't really say that the seller did anything wrong. He just, I bought it off him and he shipped it out. He gave me positive feedback, and yeah, so it's just things that happened in the meantime. I am annoyed about what's happened with this, but I've got one now. I've got all 3 of the monster bots. The only thing is, I mean, because of what happened with this, because it took so long to arrive from the seller, it took, I think it's about, was it 6 or 7 weeks it took to arrive, which is a little bit excessive. And yeah, and it got the customs hit as well. So yeah, so he's gone down in my estimation now. I don't like this toy as much as I would have done had it just arrived as per normal. And I'm obviously annoyed that I could have got one at TF Nation for 30 quid. And also, if I'd have bought it from my mate, Mr. Animatropolis, I would have admittedly had to pay an extra couple of quid to pay his asking price for it. But I guarantee it would arrive before TF Nation without customs hit, and I'd have, other things would have happened, and I would have been a lot happier about it. But yeah, so I'm a little bit annoyed about what happened with this guy, and as such, I mean, he's a great figure, don't get me wrong, it's a decent figure, and I really wanted it, and I'm glad I got it, but because of what happened with it, yeah, I don't like it as much as I should do. So yeah, so I got that, and that arrived on the 13th. Also on the 13th, obviously I went up to pick that up from the postage thing, and then I got these. Now, these are BTS Toys Minion. They're cassettes, because I've got BTST Sonicron, their Soundwave homage at Rollout Roll Call 2016, and the package comes with some cardboard cutouts for the cassettes that you can use with it, even though it is backwards compatible with G1 cassettes. But I didn't realise that they had actually done some official cassettes for their, some third-party cassettes for their own thing. So it comes in this neat little box, which has got like a, like a magnetic gatefold, and then you get the 2 figures. There's the Ravage, or Savage as he's called, and then you've got the Ratbat, who's called Nightfang. I'm not going to transform them. The articulation, the aesthetic on these is really unusual. They're quite sort of wiry and spindly looking. The build quality is not fantastic, but I'm glad I got them because they're really unusual. And when I looked into it, BTS Toys was one of the first third-party companies to come out. I mean, they came out right at the very beginning of the third-party sort of era, along with, you know, Fans Project, and they're another one of the earliest companies that started up back in the day, and Perfect Effects, because they was doing the upgrade kits for figures. So, but BTS Toys, they probably made some of the first third-party figures ever, and they have done like a Rumble and Frenzy homage. I'd like to get hold of those, but they're a bit pricey because obviously there's not many of them about and they're really rare. But at least I've got hold of some official BTS cassettes, and yeah, these are all right. I'm quite glad I got them, and they arrived on the 13th, the same day I got Repugnus. So that is that. How are we doing? 16 minutes. Okay, not too bad. Right, moving on. Next, it was comics, Spartown Comics. Well, actually, it wasn't Spartown Comics, because Spartown Comics is they have a collection once a week at the Royal Pub Uptown in Leamington, and the guy, it used to be Lisa Marie, the woman that did it, but she got pregnant and had to go have a baby, so she's having maternity leave, and now that she's got, you know, 2 young children to look after, she can't really afford to come into the shop to help out with the comic shop and the comic collections. So they've lost her for the short term as someone who's working at the shop and doing the comic collections. So Sid Beckett stepped in to do the comic collections. Now, after TF Nation, he was getting a bit of burnout, I suppose you could say, from doing all the TF Nation and all the other comic stuff that he does. So he decided to have a fortnightly holiday and have a bit of rest and relaxation for a fortnight. And it left this chap in charge of the Comic Connections shop in Banbury, and there obviously they run the Spartown comic collections. Now, as a result of this, they run the shop 7 days a week, and this guy was, you know, holding the fort at the shop, and he couldn't afford to spare the time to come over and do the Spartown comic collection. So I missed out on a couple of comic collections as a result over the back end of August and early September. So on the on Friday the 14th, when I finished work, I decided to go over to the Banbury shop and collect I was overdue some comics that I should have bought, and I couldn't get them because there was no Spartown comic collections. So I went over to the shop in Banbury, and I went there, and Sid was there because he'd just come back off his leave, and so I managed to get some comics, of course. But while I was there, in the display case at Comic Connections, Sid had another one of the new prototype unrustable figures. He got one of the Yamazuki figures in the case, and if I remember to dig the picture out off my phone, I'll show it to you now. So yeah, he had that in the case, so it was good to have a look at that. But while I was there, I bought Optimus Prime number 23, Lost Light number 23. Now, interestingly, this has got the Jeff Senior cover on it, and Sid said to me that as soon as he got back off his holiday, he made sure that I was going to get the Jeff Senior cover of Lost Light 23. So that was great, because obviously it's Jeff's work, man. I mean, come on, look at that. I mean, you got Lord Tyrest and Farmer going at it hammer and tongs. So yeah, so we got that. And then I also got Transformers Unicron number 4. So yeah, I went to the shop and I picked up my overdue comics from the shop rather than getting them from Spartown Comics in the town. So that was great. So I got to see Sid, and he said, as of next week things will be back to normal. So that was great. So that was something that happened. It meant that there was a slight delay in getting my comics. I probably would have got them earlier in the month than I actually did. I got them around the middle of the month, but it's neither here nor there. I managed to pick them up. And that was that. And then we move on to the next thing. Now, when I was looking for these, well, when I bought these, I was actually looking for something else. I decided, as I've got all the other Masterpiece cassettes for my Masterpiece Soundwave, I needed to get a Ratbat. And of course, Ratbat he only comes with the Sound Blaster mold. I don't think you can buy him separately. And you know, you have to buy a Sound Blaster, and he tends to be kind of expensive because it's Sound Blaster and because it comes with Ratbat. So, but there are plenty of Chinese knockoffs out there for, you know, next to nothing. So I decided I wanted to get hold of a KO Ratbat. And while I was looking for, you know, KO Ratbats, then that was when I found out about these BTS cassettes and decided to buy them as well. So I ordered this at the same time. Got me a KO Ratbat. Now, yes, this is a KO, and so yeah. Now the case has actually got the Transformers logo stamped into it. There, well, you probably can't see it, and the paint apps on the front of the cassette are a bit smudgy, but aside from that, it's got, you know, pretty neat transformation. But then again, you know, it's a masterpiece mold, so that would explain that. And yeah, so, you know, I got me a masterpiece Ratbat, a KO one. I think this thing's really neat. Only paid just over 10 quid for it, and yeah, it's a pretty cool figure. Now, because of this, I've got all the, you know, the masterpiece cassettes. Well, the basic ones, not including the repaints and the those dinosaur ones that they're releasing, those limited edition Bumblebee cassette things at the moment. So yeah. Got him. Yeah, it's a knockoff, dirty, filthy, horrible knockoff. I bought it. It's all right. God knows how much it would cost if you was to, you know, get hold of an original one. Probably 4 or 5 times as much. So yeah, I got hold of that, and that arrived on Saturday the 15th. So that was great. And yeah, also obviously being a knockoff, it's also got a Decepticon sigil on it. So they were trying hard to pass it off as an original, even though the seller did say in his description, this is a KO. He said quite clearly it was a KO. So well, I knew what I was buying. You know, I knew I was getting a knockoff. I mean, you wouldn't get an official one for like just over 10 quid. Yeah, so that happened. I bought a KO Masterpiece Ratbat. So that arrived on the 15th, and then also on the Saturday the 15th of September, I also went to me and my mate Richard went to the Coventry Comic Con. I didn't actually buy anything at the Coventry Comic Con, even though there was more Transformer stuff there than there had been at the previous year. There wasn't a great deal of stuff there of interest to me worth buying. However, when I got there early on, there was a bunch of display vehicles outside, including the Transformers display vehicles. And usually when I go to a convention like this, I do what I refer to, you know, I do like an out and about video, where I do a little video travelogue of, you know, what I did on these sort of days that I go out to these various events. Well, I didn't feel like doing that at this convention, so what I did instead was I took a few short video clips and a few photographs, and I'm going to put the video clips up of my my little trip to the Coventry Comic Con for you here, so you can see some of the things that I saw while I was there.
Well, at least they're using this car park instead of pulling that one.
Looks like we got alternators Grimlock. Barricade. G1 Bumblebee. Movie Bumblebee, which is that the Age of Extinction one. And then we've got the original rusty one. And the little puppy. Wow, quite surprised to see those 5 guys here. And this is the second hall.
So yeah, as you saw, you had the Jurassic Park Jeep was there. You had the 5 Transformers vehicles. You had, you know, like a bunch of Bumblebees, Barricade, and Grimlock. Yeah, they had a new Mustang done up in silver and with Grimlock plates on, which was quite interesting. The actual convention itself was in the main hall, in the main sports hall, and then they had the auxiliary hall next door, which was also had some stuff in it. So that the 2 halls were going, whereas last year it was only 1 hall. So yeah, it was a great convention, well worth going, but because there wasn't anything there worth buying. I mean, I was kind of hoping to pick up a pop vinyl while I was there, but I didn't even see the pop vinyl that was after either. So it was a bit of a short visit. It's a shame, obviously, I didn't make more of a video of it, but I just thought I'd put the video in as a little clip into this video. At the end of the month, you know, just to prove that I went there. So yeah, I went to the Coventry Comic Con on Saturday the 15th. It sort of went quiet then. This month has been a bit of the lull after the storm of TF Nation last month, and I had a bit of a gap where I wasn't actually buying anything, or there was nothing outstanding coming in. I mean, I've still got that Power of the Primes, Leader Class Nemesis Prime on pre-order from Amazon, and I keep getting these emails saying, "Oh, we can't get hold of it. You should cancel your order," and all this business. Now, I'm still going to keep it on, keep it going, because I mean, just over 40 quid. You know, if I can actually get one for just over 40 quid, then that would be a brilliant thing. But you know, I might be tempted to buy one from elsewhere and cancel the order. We'll have to wait and see. But I definitely want that figure. I definitely want it. So yeah. Now, this next one, again, it's story time again. Now, hang on. Yeah, got a bit of crap on me glasses. Story time again. Now, going back to TF Nation last year. Where is it? Right, there we go. Going back to TF Nation last year, I was reasonably close to the front of the queue when the doors opened on the Saturday morning, and I had a bunch of things that I wanted to get, Titans Return and Last Night figures. So as soon as I got in through the door, I made an immediate left turn and went to the in-demand store. And on the in-demand store, there was a handful of these. Now, this is the one I got from TF Nation 2017, and I think I paid about 10 quid for it or whatever it was, and I snatched it and a load of other things, and then I paid for it and didn't think nothing of it. Now, in the queue behind me was Mr. Graham, the Collector 75, and he was after one of these as well. And by the time he got into the hall and was looking for it on the in-demand, the in-demand stall, they'd all gone. They must have had no more than about 3 or 4 of the things, and they got snapped up like that. And I was lucky; I was one of the first guys to get in there and pick mine up. It wasn't until I saw Graham's haul video after TF Nation last year that he'd said that he'd been after a Titan Master Shuffler and hadn't been able to get one because he hadn't got into the hall class. He didn't get into the hall quick enough in order to get one, and they just went too fast for him to be able to pick one up. And I felt a little bit guilty when I heard that, about the fact that I bought it, and because Graham the Collector 75, he's a massive influence on me being an adult collector of Transformer toys and a Transformers YouTube reviewer. And I've met him a bunch of times, and we get on really well, and I class him as a good mate. And so he didn't get one, and it put a thing in my head, well, perhaps maybe I can do something for Graham. I can get hold of one for him and gift him one in return. Anyway, Nothing more was done about that until TF Nation this year. Again, TF Nation this year, you know, a couple of weeks ago, well, a month or so ago. Again, Graham went to TF Nation looking for a shuffler, couldn't find one. And I admit, when I was going around the dealer hall at TF Nation this year, I didn't see any shufflers either. There was some other Titan Master figures, but it was mostly like Tero, that, you know, the pterosaur thing. Saw that, but didn't really see much. So again, Graham did his whole video and said, you know, he couldn't find a shuffler. And then I saw that and I thought, right, I'm definitely going to be looking out for a cheap Titan Master shuffler for Graham. And then it was halfway through this month. It was after I got, well, I knew I had this thing coming. So you've got the Titan Master on top of this, and I was wondering, what's the difference between this and the Titan Master version of Repugnus? So I was looking for one of those, and I was looking on eBay, and I found this eBay seller in the UK. Well, actually, when you look on eBay and you try to get Shuffler and Repugnus, Titan Master Shuffler and Repugnus separately, you'll be lucky to get them for less than 25 quid, because they're usually people in America who are selling them. If it's on a buy it now with free shipping, it's like 33 quid, especially for Shuffler. I mean, this guy is a scalper's wet dream. He's scalper bait, you know, people picking him up, they're selling them for, you know, ridiculous sums of money on eBay. I mean, this is $6.99 these things should retail at in this country. And you get those people that are saying, okay, we're selling it for about $12, but then they slap, you know, about like $20 postage on it to get it across the pond, and you're still paying like 25-30 quid for it. And Repugnus seems to have fallen into that same trap, because I think people are going for Titans Return Repugnus because they're doing the same as what I was trying to do, get him as a, you know, for a comparison with the Titan Master on the Prime Wars Repugnus. But anyway, so I was looking on eBay, and then I saw some seller in the UK who was selling the Wave 4 Titan Masters, all 4 of them, for $29.99. And when I looked at it, I thought, and Wave 4 included Shuffler and Repugnus, and it also came with Skytread and Nightbeat. So I thought, you know what? You know, when you split, you know, $29.99, well, 30 quid into 4, you get £7.50. So at £7.50, it's a little bit more than what they would retail at in the UK, but it's still damn sight cheaper than buying the figures separately off eBay or Amazon. So I thought, yeah, let's go for it. So I bought it, and it arrived on the 22nd. So obviously I got a bunch of Titan Masters. So I got Nightbeat, got Skytread, got Repugnus, and obviously I got Shuffler. But at this point I had 2 Shufflers, and to prove the point, here's a photograph. So yeah, as you can see, I had 2 Shufflers, and the other Shuffler, I had it for little over a day, because what day did they arrive? They arrived on the 22nd, which was a Saturday. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, they arrived. Yeah, because they were waiting for me when I got home from Bury. That was it. Yeah, that was it. They arrived on the 22nd. I was up at Bury, and I got home, and this package was waiting for me. So it was on the Sunday I finally opened it and got these guys out. And then I knew, well, obviously I had 2 Shufflers, so I was going to send one to Graham. So I packed it up in a box, and I thought, well, the thing with Graham is, right, now I knew I had an address to send it to, and the reason I had an address to send it to is because of this. Because a couple of years ago I bought this off Graham. It's a KO Browning, a Diaclone Browning, and I bought this for about 75 quid. And when he sent the package to me for this, he put a return of address label on it, which I kept a note of. So I had this address, for him that I had a note of, and that was the address that I used to send this package to him. Now I could have. He's a contact on WhatsApp, so I could have contacted him on WhatsApp and asked him to confirm his postal address. But I didn't want to do that because I wanted it to be a surprise. I was sending in this figure that he really wanted. So I packaged it up, and I had a little cryptic message on the address label at the front saying, you may want to unbox this parcel on camera. And inside I wrapped it in bubble wrap, and I put a cardboard thing around it, and I had a picture of my channel logo, and I think do you still need one of these on it? And so I sent it off to Graham on the Monday, and I think he got it on the Tuesday. But little did I know that I'd sent it to the wrong address. The address I'd sent it to was his parents' house and not his house. So obviously, you know, he used to live in his parents' house years ago when I used to watch him doing his G1 reviews that he used to do in his bedroom in his parents' house. But obviously that was a good number of years ago. And then he moved out, and he's moved house 1 or 2 times since then. But he's in his current place, and so yeah, I sent it to his parents' house, and yeah, I sent it to the wrong address, but he still got it because his parents still live there. They told him he had a parcel waiting. He went and picked it up, and he sent me a message on WhatsApp after he got it, and to say, no, you are indeed a star, he said, and he thanked me on WhatsApp for sending it. And then a couple of days later, he did that unboxing video, that mystery unboxing video. So that's the story behind how I got one of these and sent it to Graham the Collector 75s. And there's the ins and outs of it. But yeah, I mainly wanted it for Repugnus, and obviously, hang on, let's get this out. The thing is, the reason I wanted to get it was because of this. And when you take the one off Repugnus, come on. I mean, this is the Titan Master. Well, this is the Titan Master one, and this is the Prime Wars one. And you can see that they've got totally different head sculpts. Now the bodies. This is Dastard, and he's got a decent amount of paint on, and the other one, which is the Titan Master Repugnus, is just, well, it's hardly got any paint on it at all. But what you can do, if you want to keep Dastard, you can take the screw out, swap the heads over, and have a more G1 accurate head on your Repugnus, and that was the reason why I got it. So yeah, I'm going to do that mod. I'm going to swap the faces over, and Dastard is going to have a proper looking G1 style head. So that was the reason why I did that. As for the other guys, Skytread, I didn't really have much interest in the Titan Masters. I picked up a couple of them before, but wasn't really interested in the rest of the line. And but as I was, they were coming as Brucey bonuses in this pack. I mean, I got Skytread, and because of his is a homage to Flywheels, so that works. I mean, I like Flywheels because he's an ex-scavenger. He was a member of the scavengers, but he was the only guy to die at the hands of their running with a DJD. So he died, but he is an ex-scavenger. So, and this guy is obviously, they've lost the rights to the name Flywheels. So they called him Skytread instead. But it's got the same colours. It's got that brown and the sort of like the maroony purple on it. So I didn't mind getting one of those. And then there's Nightbeat. Nightbeat is all right. I wouldn't have bought it any other way. I just got it as an extra in this lot of Titan Masters that I bought. So it's okay, but doesn't really do anything for me. Nice colours, but again, I've got no interest in it. I haven't got anything against the character of Nightbeat. I've got the Generations one somewhere, but this thing doesn't really float my boat as so much. But I got it anyway, so I've added it to my collection. So yeah, that was how that played out. That was why I bought these Titan Masters, was so that I could get Repugnus, and obviously get a spare shuffler so I could send it to Graham the Collector 75. So that's how that happened. Right, nearly 40 minutes, just got a few more things to get through. So went to Spa-Town Comics again on Friday the 28th. Sid's back in command now, doing the Spa-Town Comics, so we're back to normal. I got Lost Light 24. A lot of characters die in this, but no, for a good reason. We're going to get this. This is the penultimate issue of Lost Light. There's some really heavy crap that goes down in this. Again, it's Jeff Senior cover of Rung, which is quite cool. And then while I was there, he handed something else to me. Star Trek versus Transformers issue number 1. Now, this is what this is a kind of a comic series that's going to bridge the gap between the end of the current IDW continuity and the start of the rebooted IDW continuity. And it's another one of those sort of what if, crossover comics. Star Trek though, I've read it. I bought it obviously. The art style, I mean, the characters, the Star Trek characters, they're done them in the style of that cartoon series that they did, the original Star Trek cartoon series, done in that style, and the Transformer characters are done in a very much a G1 style. Even though Windblade's in it and Arachnid's in it as well. So yeah, I've got that, and I'll be getting these, but these will be filling in the gap between the old and the new IDW continuities. So I thought it would be worth getting this just to keep me on board with the IDW comics, because otherwise, as soon as Lost Light, Unicron, and What's It comes to an end, I was gonna probably ditch the comics and not even carry on with the reboot. But it remains to be seen what the reboot's going to be about. It's probably going to be a comic version of War for Cybertron Siege, is my guess. It's going to be like a comic version of the toys. So that's what I think they're going to be doing. But anyway, so I got that. Now to round this little haul off, got to put that on. Put my I'll put it on there. My NEC September 2018 badge, because this morning I went to the NEC Toy Fair. Yes, it's the third NEC Toy Fair of 2018. They have 4 of them throughout the year. There's another one in December which I always go to, because that's kind of like tradition. I always go to that on December the 27th, because it's my last bot buying opportunity day of the year. And I went to the NEC this morning with £100, my usual £100 I like to take, and I got some interesting stuff. Now this year, the 2 NEC Toy Fairs I've been to, and the one in December as well, so the last 3 NEC Toy Fairs I've been to, the pickings have been rather slim. There's not been a great deal of stuff around worth buying, and because the thing with NEC Toy Fair is you largely get G1 figures. That's what you usually get, because it's a toy and train collectors fair, and it's like vintage toys of all kinds. It's mostly model trains and model cars, and sometimes model aeroplanes as well, like plastic kits and miniatures and stuff like that. But you do get other toys as well. And so in the last couple of NEC Toy Fairs I've been to, there hasn't been a great deal of Transformer content in them, but this time there was. As I walked round, I went to the usual sellers, because there's usually a seller on the left wall and the right wall that are usually there. And the guy on the left-hand wall, he has like a mixed bag of stuff, and I always buy something from him, usually every time I go. On the right wall, you've got a guy who usually has a load of sort of like G1 figures that he sells. And as I walked round, I noticed that he had got another one of those Gakken Legios Alpha Fighter, Henshin Robo things, but this was the diecast one. It was the smaller of the diecast ones. I had a quick look at it. He wanted 30 quid for it, but it didn't transform into the plane mode. It only transformed into the Gerwalk and the robot. And I thought, okay, I'll pass on that, and if I don't buy anything else, I'll come back and pick that up later. Of course, I didn't do that because I found other things worth buying. And as I was walking around, I saw Geekology was there again with their stall, and these guys.
That's all right. No, you stopped here.
Go figure, the space bridge was there. I couldn't believe it. I didn't actually buy anything from the space bridge because by the time I found them, I'd already spent, was it 45 quid of my money, so I had 55 quid left. And I had a quick look on their stall, and their prices were a bit expensive, but then again, this is a collector's convention, and this is the thing with the NEC Toy Fair. The prices tend to be sort of collectors stroke dealers prices. I mean, you do see stuff a bit cheaper at TF Nation because they're selling to, you know, a crowd of collectors that buy these things, and they're in competition with other dealers in the hall. But here at the NEC, they pretty much got the floor to themselves. There was only a handful of sellers doing Transformers, but they did have quite a lot on stalls, and obviously Space Bridge was there. I had a whole bunch, you know, they had the mint box stuff on the back, they had the glass cases with like the loose G1 figures in, and loads of other stuff. So I had a look at their stall and didn't see anything particular that I wanted to buy at that time, and I kept going up and down. And as I was going around, the first thing that I saw, and I've never seen one of these before, and I honestly, I saw it and I thought, wow. Titanium Jetfire. Now this is one of the like the War Within style figures. I've got a few of them. I mean, I got War Within Grimlock is in there, and where's the other one? I've got a, oh yeah, it's right on the top shelf. I can't be bothered to reach for it. I've got a War Within Thundercracker up there as well. So yeah, I've got Titanium Jetfire. Now look on the back. You look at his alt mode. Looks pretty cool actually. And the robot mode looks really awesome. I've never seen this figure before, so it was kind of like, wow, what's that? And the guy wanted 22 quid for it, but he sold it to me for 20 quid, which is a good price for a titanium figure. As you can see, it's mint boxed. It's got the, well, it has, I think it's been, well, the tape seal's been broke on it, but still got the wire ties in there. So yeah, so I bought that for 20 quid. I haven't actually got it out and played with it yet, obviously, so I can't really pass judgment on it yet, but got hold of that. That's pretty cool. Then, as I was wandering around, I saw another stall, had a bunch of sort of G1 figures on the front, and a G2 Sideswipe. It's dusty. It's very dusty. It's got a lot of decal wear on it. This plastic door on this side has got like a funny sort of mottled finish on it. I don't know what's happened. I don't know where it's like semi-melted. It's got loose joints, but the chrome's not too bad. It's got all its tyres. There's no accessories with it. So I'll pick that up for 25 quid. So I thought that was okay. I mean, obviously I've paid a lot more for G1 figures in worse state than this. But yeah, I've got the red alert mold, but I haven't got Sideswipe. But I thought, you know, it'd be nice to get a G2 Sideswipe, so I'll pick that up. Then, after I saw the space bridge, I was carrying on up the aisles, and I found this other dealer who was sort of setting up, and he had a leader class, Age of Extinction leader class Grimlock minting box on the floor, and I was having a look at that, and then I looked upon the table and saw something else. A prototype Age of Extinction leader class Grimlock for 40 quid. It's in the grey plastic. He had the official one on the floor for the same price, mint in box. So I could have bought a leader class one, but then I saw this and I was looking at it and thinking, you know what, I could go for that, because now I haven't been tempted to go for the leader class Grimlock mold before now, and the reason being is The robot mode looks okay, but when you transform it into the Tyrannosaur mode, Dino mode, it's got this really long sort of spindly neck, and it just doesn't look right. The proportions are all wrong on it, so I wasn't tempted to buy it. However, they got the Takara version. Is it the Dark Knight Grimlock or whatever it was? The way they repainted it in these much more evil looking colours, and that looked really good. And I was tempted to get one of those, but again, being a Japanese exclusive, it tends to go for a bit more money than it should do. But yeah, I saw this for 40 quid and I thought, you know what, I can have some of that. So yeah, got hold of prototype Age of Extinction leader class Grimlock for 40 quid. I was quite pleased with that. And then finally, I didn't have much money left over. I had 15 quid left, and I went over to the Space Bridge again, and they didn't really have anything on their stall that was, you know, less than 15 quid. Well, they had a few sort of Generations figures, loose ones, on the front, but they were figures I already had, so there was no point in buying them. So I then went back to my friend on the left-hand wall, the guy I always go to and buy stuff from, and he had a small box on his table full of loose figures in bags, and I was having a rummage through, and I saw a couple of figures. I saw Combiner Wars Trail Cutter, because I quite like Trailbreaker as a character, and I was quite tempted to buy that. And then I saw something else, and it was this thing. Dark of the Moon Scout Class Sunspot. Now, it forms a kind of like a stealth jet type thing, and I know this mold is quite good because it's from Revenge of the Fallen Scout class line, and they did some really awesome molds in that toy line. So yeah, I decided to get him. He is missing. He's got like the weapons built into his wings, and they have like a little clip that plugs into a hole in the palm of the hand. One of the clips is missing, but that's neither here nor there. Quite like the mold on this, and the head sculpt. Can't really see it. It kind of reminds me of the head sculpt on a Patlabor from the series Patlabor, the Japanese anime series Patlabor from the 80s and 90s. They did a couple of movies, and they did a limited sort of TV series. It looks like the head sculpt of an Ingram Patlabor robot. In fact, this whole sort of the look of the aesthetic on this kind of looks like a Patlabor figure. It almost looks like a Patlabor. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that's a really awesome looking bot. So yeah, I bought him, and he was 15 quid, and that accounted for the last of my money that I took to the NEC Toy Fair this morning. So yeah, I did really well this morning at the NEC Toy Fair. I did really well. I'm quite pleased with this. It's quite a decent thing, but again, I've not long. I decided I started work on this video as soon as I got back, so I haven't had a chance to play with any of these, so I can't really pass judgment on them. But they do look pretty awesome, and that is the end of this month's haul. So it starts again tomorrow. I've got some KTRTs I want to pull the trigger on, and there's a new third-party figure coming out soon that I think I might put a pre-order on as well. Right, so 50 minutes. Yeah, let's end this. Now the thing is, usually at the end of these videos, I do what I refer to as my first and worst, where I hold up the best bot that I got and the worst bot that I got. This month, it's kind of hard to do that. Because the bits I got today, I haven't really had a chance to mess with them too much to find out what they're really like. This guy has upset me because of things that happened in the shipping. So I don't like him as much as I should do. Yeah, so it's kind of difficult for me to do a first and a worst this month. So I'm not going to do it. So no first and worst this month. Obviously, I might, if I come to a consensus, I might do an update in my next video. When I do it, I might say what my first and worst was in my next video, so you have to keep your eye out for that. So with that being said, I have been TFR Wilderness. This has been my September bot haul for this month, and I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da!